What's up, guys? Welcome back to CagedIn MMA. It's your host, Ebit Sochiwa, and we are live. This is episode 4, baby. We got so much to talk about. UFC 291 this weekend for the BMF title. Right there, we got our old BMF title, contender champion right there, Jorge Masvidal. And we actually got Nate Diaz. I put the Diaz brothers together this time because they are BMFers. You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot to talk about. If you guys haven't been staying in tune with, all the news media, all that stuff, fight media, well, I'm your guy to keep y'all up to date. You know what I'm saying? So first and foremost, let's go ahead and start off episode 4 with the Dana White call out. Dana White, I've been a fan for so long, so many years. I've spent so much money on these pay-per-views. Haven't missed a fight since Bisping and GSP. Now, obviously, I've been a fan since much longer, but I'm just saying you can check my ESPN account pay-per-view and see that I constantly buy the fights. Obviously, I would say actually until like 2 fights ago. Now I'm going out, trying to meet more fans, etc. But anyways, I have been spending a lot of money on these pay-per-views. Obviously, you could see my collection here, UFC Watch, Time X, and the championship belt. You know what I'm saying? This is the exact one. But anyways, so Dana White, come on, fly me out, brother. Everybody tag Dana White, shout out Dana White, etc. Time to fly me out. I want to experience these fights live. I mean, there's so many good fights coming up, and especially the main one I don't want to miss is I'm gonna be honest, John Jones fighting Stipe. They're two of my favorite fighters. Stipe right here, he's joining in, of course. So but anyways, like I said, I'm super excited for fights coming up, and I just want to experience the live, vibe and everything. So Dana White, come on, bro, fly me out, etc. Or just give me a discount, bro, please. But anyways, let's start off with trivia. Today I am alone again, and like I said, it's honestly a good thing sometimes, only because again, if I get one wrong, I don't get hit. But for you guys, if you're listening in with a friend or etc., and you get this wrong, then hit your friend, bro. It's whatever. It's the fight game. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, we'll go ahead and start with trivia. I'll give you a few seconds after I ask the question to answer. Comment down below your answer and see if you got it right. So, first question: how many championship belts did Alex Pereira win in Glory Kickboxing? And if you guys don't know, he was a kickboxer. Again, that's where he's well known with his rivalry with Izzy. You know what I'm saying? Izzy Adesanya. So go ahead, give you a few seconds to answer that, and let's see if you guys know. All right. So it's 2. So he was actually a champ in kickboxing in the middleweight division and light heavyweight division. So, as you guys know, he's now moving up to light heavyweight, and hopefully well, I'm not biased, but like I said, we'll see if he wins this title in the light heavyweight division in the UFC. Now, obviously, this fight that's coming up against Jan Blachowicz isn't for the belt. The belt is vacant, and Dana White did say that whoever wins this fight will be fighting for the belt. But anyways, in kickboxing, he did reign the middleweight and light heavyweight division and got 2 belts for that. Next question, which comment down below if you got that answer correct. And if you did, congrats. If you didn't, you got to get punched or you're saved by the bell. So, next question. Which TUF season, the Ultimate Fighter season, did Tony Ferguson win? This is a harder question. So I'll give you guys a few seconds. Comment down below your answer and let's see if you get it right. So the season that he won is the Ultimate Fighter 13 in 2011. And he's been in it ever since. I believe actually he's been in it since 2008. And so comment down below your answer, etc. I'm asking which one he's won and things like that. So if you got it right, comment down below. Congrats. And if you got it wrong, if you're with a friend or your friend got it wrong, punch that boy, man. So next question. This is actually a funny one. So we already know the BMF title is on the line this weekend. Okay. But who on this fight card is known for being the nicest motherfucker? I'll give you a few seconds to comment down below. Let's see if you guys know this one. You know, it's this one's an interesting one. It is just a funny one I wanted to throw in there. All right. So the answer is my boy Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Bro, he's the nicest guy ever, you know. It's like it's funny because when they made the BMF title fight and they, you know, it started becoming like a huge thing. Um, you know, they told Stephen Wonderboy, like, you know, wins the belt for the nicest motherfucker and etc. So, you know, it's super funny. Stephen Wonderboy is a great sport, you know, great competitor, but he's just so nice. Like it's so hard for him to trash talk and everything. So it's super amazing, funny question. But if you got it right, comment down below, pat yourself on the back, give you, you know, a little jab here and there, shadow box a little bit, dodge a little, you know, dodge a little shots. But if you got it wrong, take a shot, bro. Come on, take a shot. It's the fight game, bro. Got to get hit. Anyways, next, we got quite a bit of news, honestly, over the past few weeks. I'm going to try to make this short, try to keep you guys up to date if you haven't been up to date. But we got some amazing fights coming up. I'm super pumped for it. And yeah, bro. So, first and foremost, fights that happened last weekend. Tom Aspinall, he wins by first round TKO. And it was a beautiful performance from Tom Aspinall. And he was talking about fighting John Jones. Now, John Jones replied really through a tweet, basically saying like, "Oh, he sees Tom Aspinall, recognizes him." But honestly, I don't think John Jones will ever fight him, and this is why, because it's like Jones already is about to retire. So, you know, against Stipe, and who knows, even Stipe might retire. Both fighters, win or lose, I believe they'll retire. But Jones did say like the only other fight he'd be interested in coming out of retirement for is Ngannou. So obviously everybody in the heavyweight division or even light heavyweight division, they're gonna want to fight John Jones. I mean, who doesn't want that fight, fighting the greatest of all time? But realistically, like you know, Tom Aspinall is a great fighter, beautiful performance last weekend. But do I really believe personally that he's going to fight John Jones? It's hard to say. But let me know what you guys think. Comment down below if you really believe he'll you know, win that fight. So next we got Stolyarenko. She wins also, finish McCann via armbar, and obviously, I think she was the underdog, and obviously all the hype behind the other fighter with Patty Pimblett, etc. And Patty was at that fight, obviously repping for his teammate. But again, you know, Stolyarenko, many people doubted her. She finished again her signature move, which is the armbar. So beautiful performance from her. You know, I'm hoping to see what's next for her. Now I don't know also if Drake lost money because you know Drake was very big in betting for Patty and McCann. But let me comment down below if you guys know if you know he actually betted for that fight. But anyways, we got some amazing fights coming up. Also, we got Grasso versus Shevchenko 2. If you guys know, so that fight is going to take place September 16th. If you guys have been keeping up with the previous fights, we unfortunately lost two Mexican fighter champs. and Grasso is the last Mexican fighter champs standing. So let me know what you guys think about the fight, how the fight's going to go. Honestly, I remember watching Grasso versus Shevchenko 1, and man, Alexa Grasso looked amazing. Her boxing was spectacular, and obviously, like, I mean, she quickly reacted by taking Shevchenko's back during Shevchenko's kick, and she took the back, got her down, and bro, like, I don't know if you guys saw how red Shevchenko got from that choke. It was insane. It was so tight, and I don't even think it was fully like under the neck. I think it was just the chin. But the fact that she squeezed so hard, bro, like, it was insane. So that was a beautiful fight, though. Shevchenko is obviously like, other than Amanda Nunes beating her, which one of the fights is very controversial. But other than that, I thought Shevchenko could have been one of the greatest. I mean, she still is, but as in like recognized as the GOAT, right? And she still can be. She has a lot to put in the sport still. But obviously, her loss against Amanda Nunes retiring, so her never getting that fight again. But Grasso versus Shevchenko 2 this time. I'm hoping to see, what is to come. Not many fighters after a loss, after losing their championship belt or championship status, come back and win, beat that fighter again. And typically, I remember talking to somebody, and it was really like, at first, typically like the champion, right? For example, like, who was that champion? Oh, Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. This is a great example because Usman versus Leon Edwards won, or two. Obviously, they fought a long time ago. So two for the belt. Usman was dominating everything, and then Leon head kicks him and wins. Obviously, he set that up perfectly, but again, he was getting dominated the whole fight. So I also believe that during when one fights and or looks back on their fights, see what they can improve, just like Kamaru Usman, I feel like he was like, well, I was doing everything perfect. There's not much to improve. Just do the same thing again. And maybe just, make sure I don't get caught, make sure I do this and that. Not really a different game plan. Whereas Leon Edwards, the other fighter, knowing even though they won, they got dominated, they look at the other fighter, they're like, okay, what can I do better now to make sure it doesn't happen again? So then they study everything they did wrong and then go about it like that. That's why in their third fight, Leon Edward won. Um, and honestly, he won that fight, like, by decision, and it was a great fight, great performance. But yeah, Usman did get um, beat that night, and Leon was the better fighter. So I feel like Grasso, many people were saying, like, obviously Grasso looked spectacular, but Shevchenko was winning that fight up until that, choke. So I feel like because of the losses, etc., things like that, Grasso does stand a very high chance in beating her again. But like I said, I'm obviously, I actually, I would say, I mean, I know, like, I'm Mexican, so I would go for the Mexican fighter. But to be honest, like, uh, I'm a huge fan of Shevchenko, and Grasso, like, obviously she's Mexican, but man, like, I'm a personally, and I'll just be honest, like, I'm rooting for Grasso because I don't want to lose another Mexican champ. But if it was anybody else, I feel like I'll root for Shevchenko because I'm just a huge fan of her. Dude, I really like, like, her after she wins, her dances and how she speaks multiple languages. It's definitely like, it's so amazing, so classy from her. But anyways, Grasso versus Shevchenko. To let me know what you guys think. Who's gonna win that fight? Who are you guys rooting for? Next, this one, bro. I am pumped. I am super pumped for this fight. And we got Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira 2. And man, I'm super pumped for this fight only because, like, obviously both of these guys have gone through wars in their past fights as well. Islam obviously just now fighting Alex Volkanovski, which Volkanovski just won beat Yair Rodriguez, but that fight was so close and put him through war, the biggest war we have ever seen him been put through. And then we got Charles Oliveira beating Dariush. And man, like, Charles Oliveira, I believe, has beat every top ranked contender in the division other than Islam. And now obviously Islam doesn't have the same, that record, that spectacular record like Charles Oliveira does, but also, it's like we did see Islam beat Oliveira in his own game. So I feel like, Oliveira was saying in one of his interviews, he said that uh, basically, they asked him, okay, well, are you going to do anything different, against Islam Makachev? And he was like, no. He was like, I'm not going to do anything different. Like, I'm gonna go there. I know who I am. I know my skills. I'm gonna push forward like always, and you know, uh, do my thing. But I also feel like, maybe he's saying that for the interview to not give off his game plan, of course. But at the same time, I'm worried because it's like if he does do that, will he get caught again like he did against Islam and like the first time? And I do want this fight to go on longer. I'm hoping I'm not really rooting for either or. I'm really like a fan of both fighters. They're both very humble. But really like, um Oliveira is just a great fighter all around, but definitely if he pushes forward, I feel like he'll get tagged again. So he has to be more, balanced on this one. Not to he Oliveira has been dropped a lot. Now you got to keep in mind the fighters he fought also like Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, etc. Like he's getting dropped by these guys, but these guys are the heaviest hitters in the division. You know what I'm saying? So and either way, he gets knocked down, but not knocked out. Obviously, now they're scared. Like Poirier and Gaethje, um, they know they'll get beat by Oliveira on the ground, so they don't go like to the ground and pound. They don't push forward on the ground. But Makachev, he was not scared. I mean, he knows he's very like confident in his skills on the ground. And yeah, so I'm definitely that is one I'm super excited for. That fight will be taking place on October 21st. And next, this fight, coming up, we haven't seen a lot from both of these fighters. It's going to be Paulo Costa versus Hamza Chimaev, October 21st as well. And this is going to be an exciting fight. Obviously, both fighters are very exciting, which also both fighters have missed weight. So, it's going to be middleweight, but I'm also like, will it be middleweight? So who knows? Like, that's where I'm also like skeptical and stuff like that. But I'm definitely excited for this fight. Both guys have always brought their A game, have always, came to impress. Obviously, Costa fighting Izzy, we saw him more like, you know, not scared, obviously, just like, um, more tactical about how he was. Obviously, he did get knocked out in that fight, but he seemed like he recognized, like, hey, I can't really push forward on this guy. If not, this is going to happen. So Chimaev, obviously, great wrestler. I'm pretty sure he's going to try to wrestle Costa. But we saw Chimaev fight another top guy, top contender, which was Gilbert Burns. At the time, was ranked number 3 in the division, and we all saw that was his toughest fight ever. That was an amazing fight, though, obviously, just as a fan. But it was definitely it put Chimaev to the test, and luckily he won that fight. So now obviously he's getting this fight, but definitely like just the way that you could tell, like, hey, like, okay, maybe they bumped him up too quick, but at the same time he did win that fight, and it was a brutal war. He did, he was trying to wrestle Burns, and Burns did a very good job defending. At some points, obviously, Burns did get taken down, but at the same time, he's not a wrestler, right? He's a jiu-jitsu practitioner. And obviously, like, yes, it still implements wrestling, but it's not wrestling, Whereas Chimaev does have, that wrestling background, etc. So I'm definitely excited for that fight. And like I said, that fight is going to take place October 21st. So next, this is actually a fight that not many people, I guess, know about. Many, I'll say, like, not many people like follow obviously the UFC fight nights. They're more on the pay per view, UFC 290, 91, 92, 93, etc. But this fight, I wanted to include it because I'm super excited for this fight, just because of the fighters they are, and which is Corey Sandhagen versus Font. And this will be taking place on August 5th. And I think it's 2 weeks. Yeah, August 5th in 2 weeks. It's just a UFC fight night, but both Sandhagen and Font, bro, they are exciting fighters. Man, Sandhagen, I feel like he's one of those that are just so good, but is in the era of like greats, you know. So I'm definitely excited for this fight, and yeah, man, like let's see, let's see, uh, okay, so I was actually trying to look up something, but anyways, Corey Sandhagen versus Font, August 5th, UFC Fight Night. I'm definitely excited for that. Let me know if you guys are going to tune in for that fight, and let me know what you guys think about that fight. I think it will go. I think it will be a stand up fight. To be honest, I think both guys are definitely just going to kind of like keep it on the feet, etc. And that would be very exciting, man. Both of these fighters are very technical, and even Sandhagen, like he man, his ground game is so spectacular as well. So who knows? Maybe he'll want to take it to the ground as well. But we'll definitely see about that fight. Next, this is actually a crazy fight. How it came to be, and I remember in the last podcast, was it, or 2 podcasts ago, episode 2 or episode 3. I think I was with my brother and my friend Joel, and we were talking about what's next for the middleweight division, and obviously we know Duplessis. Excuse me. Obviously, we know Duplessis just won against Robert Whitaker, and he was supposed to get that next title fight, and it was basically set and done. Izzy got in the octagon, and they faced it. But now we got Adesanya versus Sean Strickland, and supposedly it's not official yet. They're still in the works, but that's most likely going to be the next case. Sean Strickland, he doesn't really care who he fights. He just wants money, right? That's really it. So, like, I feel like just negotiations. That's really what Sean Strickland said. They just got to worry about negotiations, etc., things like that. But other than that, Strickland said, "Bro, I'll fight anyone and everyone." Especially how the press conference went with Strickland fighting Alex Pereira. Man, like Adesanya and Strickland going at it, things like that. So I'm definitely excited if they fight for the press conference. And man, like they're both Strickland is just that guy, like, who says whatever, right? He's he's that's why many people, like, he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was like, man, like, I'm just effed up in the head, and but I also feel like that's why many people could relate to me, just in the fight game, fight fans, things like that. Not saying like people are effed up in the head, just like it's more of I would say, like, the habits that these fighters have, etc., things like that, and just the mentality as well. Many people could relate to him and what he says. But obviously, Israel Adesanya, it's only going to be funny because I feel like Israel Adesanya has also said he's more connected to his feminine side compared to Sean Strickland. He's very, like, all about masculinity, right? So just like the press conference, I feel like even if Izzy shows up with his nails painted again or anything like that, like, he's going to get roasted about it. And then Israel Adesanya already, I mean, he I don't think he has bad blood against Sean Strickland. It's more of like, this guy, like, bro, like, shut up, things like that. So I'm definitely excited for the fight. I'm definitely excited what's to come. Obviously, we also know Izzy has kind of like those cringe moments of like trash talk, which is sometimes great, And but Sean Strickland, just like I'm very excited. I feel like I'm more excited for the press conference and all the trash talking and things like that, especially with Sean Strickland, uh, sparring now with Alex Pereira and things like that. So I'm definitely excited for that fight. I'm just super excited for the fight to see how it goes. Uh, I want to experience that fight live. I want to experience all these fights live, to be honest. But like I said, Dana White, come on, fly me out, bro. Next, this was recent news. I think it was yesterday that they released it. But we got Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley, August 19th. Obviously, two great fighters, and I'm definitely excited to see what's to come with these fighters. I feel Sean O'Malley, man, he definitely impressed me. Like I feel like when he was fighting Piotr Jan, that many people doubted him, right? They were like, "Oh, nah, Sean O'Malley, he's going to get like wrecked." And obviously, Piotr Jan is one of the great fighters in the division. But unfortunately, or fortunately, however you see it, like Sean O'Malley went in there and just shocked the whole world. They put up a great fight, man, and it was definitely like the fact that not only he defended takedowns, he tagged Piotr Jan. Man, it's great. And obviously, Aljamain Sterling, he's coming off a win as well. He's the reigning champ in his division. He just beat Henry Cejudo. He beat TJ Dillashaw, and he's beat Piotr Jan twice. So I'm definitely excited for the fight. Obviously, the first fight against Sterling and Piotr Jan. Um, Sterling definitely was losing all rounds, but you know, next fight, like I said, these fighters make the big adjustment and everything like that, and we saw it definitely. So these fighters are obviously getting better by the day, and I'm just excited for these fighters, man. These fights, obviously, and Sterling versus O'Malley is going to be amazing. O'Malley is very known uh, in the public eye, right? Not only like many people see him as the next Conor McGregor, and obviously that's a big step up. Obviously, I actually got Conor McGregor right here. Let's see what he has to say. But no, definitely like he's just that guy. Like it's like he's a very fun guy, personality wise. He always brings in a show for the people and things like that. He has to kind of work on his mic game. I feel like if he was better on the mic, he could get more publicity. Not like Conor McGregor. No, like the way Conor McGregor worked the mic, it was just one of a kind. So like I feel like Sean O'Malley, if he wants to get to that, how many people are saying, oh well, he could be the next Conor McGregor. I feel like if he does work on his mic game, you never know. So we'll definitely see it with this fight, press conference, everything like that. That fight is August 19th. Next, I haven't seen her in a while. Obviously, she's been out, but we got Zhang Wei Li versus Lemus, and that's also August 19th. And I'm definitely excited for that fight, man. Zhang Wei Li is just that badass girl that like, bro, so she brings in so much power. Obviously, she had got knocked out by Rose Namajunas, but man, the way like just the type of fighter she is, super powerful, super explosive. Bro, it's like she's such an amazing fighter to watch. I think before fighting Rose Namajunas, she was like 20-1. She had kind of a similar record to Alex Volkanovski. So I'm definitely excited for that fight. It's one of those where like obviously Zhang, it's one of those fights where it like could be definitely like a great fight. Like who was it? And now my Joanna, yeah, it was Joanna, and was it Jean Whaley? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, so I'm not tripping, but yeah, hopefully it's one of those fights. Both of these women are definitely have a lot of power behind their hand, and so I don't see this one going to distance. I really don't. I think it's going to end not even a submission, but just knockout. So I feel like one of them will get knocked out this fight. So that will be August 19th. And now for the moment you guys have been waiting for. UFC 291 is on the books this weekend. If you guys haven't been tuning in, watch the countdown, watch embedded series, bro. I'm definitely like I'm super excited for these fights, and bro, like I there's just so much to talk about all these fighters, and this is definitely I think this is they chose this card very wisely because like all these fighters we're about to talk about, they definitely like they're very well known to be in brutal fights, right? And amazing fights and have been putting amazing performances. And so I'm definitely excited for all these fights to come this weekend. And man, I wish I was there, bro. The vibe. Obviously, we got the BMF title. Jorge Masvidal is actually going to be uh, strapping up the BMF title on the winner. So I'm definitely excited to see that. But anyways, let's get to it. All right. First, let's start off with the prelim fight, right? If you guys don't keep up with prelims, things like that, well, there's at least one prelim you guys got to watch. There's actually many, but I'll tell you guys one just in case you guys didn't know. And it's a fan favorite. Derek Lewis is fighting. He is on the prelim against Marcos Rogelio de Lima. And bro, this is going to be an amazing fight, right? Um, Derek Lewis is 26-11 with one no contest. Marcos Rogelio de Lima, if you guys don't know him, he has a record of 21-9-1. Now, here is where it gets even more impressive. Rogelio, he has 14 wins by knockout, right? This is the heavyweight division, by the way. And actually, he weighs in at like 262. Obviously, we have the cap at heavyweight at 265, but he weighs in around 262 to 265. So these two guys are big guys, right? So Rogelio has 14 wins by knockout, 3 wins by submission, which is very impressive in the heavyweight division, honestly. Obviously, heavyweight division, it's all about power, all about, like knockouts, really, bro. And the fact that he has 3 wins by submission alone, it's just a very well, record. But anyways, even more impressive is he has 15 first round finishes. He is coming off a decision win, but like I said, his record just speaks for itself. So next we got Derek Lewis, obviously is a fan favorite. Everybody knows who Derek Lewis is. And he has 21 wins by knockout, 8 first round finishes. And again, like, I don't think this fight will go past the first round, if I'm being honest. Like, just like their record speaks for itself, obviously. They both, I mean, it's also the heavyweight division. Like, you got to understand, like, these guys, not all they got, but like, they have so much power, right? Obviously, they have other skills, but I'm saying, like, their main thing is having so much power because they're heavyweights, like I said, like Derek Lewis, he comes in at like 260 to 265. Same thing with Rogelio, he comes in at 260 to 265. Obviously, imagine the cap for heavyweight is 265. So like I said, like I don't think this goes past like the first round, if I'm being honest. But Derek Lewis, he is coming off a 3 fight loss streak. But being honest, like if you guys been keeping up, like Derek Lewis, his fight against Tuivasa, like bro, that was a huge war. And honestly, like I pretty much like Derek Lewis was beating Tuivasa, and bro, Tuivasa's chin is like one of a kind, even against Cyril Gahn. Like the fact that it took him like that long to fall down, and against Derek Lewis, like Derek Lewis was putting a beating on Tuivasa, hitting him with insane shots that have knocked out so many other fighters. And the fact that Tuivasa he stayed up and came back, clipped Derek Lewis and knocked him out. Like it was insane. Like even Derek Lewis was like, bro, like I just like he was in shock because he was beating him so much and hitting him with some crazy shots. And the fact that Tuivasa came back and won, like, bro, it was kind of like, what the heck just happened, right? So man, like it's like Derek Lewis. Unfortunately, like I said, he's been obviously now he's back at prelims. Unfortunately, but he's just such a fan favorite, and not only that, like he still is that great fighter and still powerful fighter. So I'm hoping he comes back and still has much more to give in the sport. Obviously, he's been in the sport for a very long time, has fought like, great, the champions and stuff like that. Again, he's fought Daniel Cormier, he's fought Ngannou, like, he's fought like these guys that have been at the top for so long. So, I'm definitely excited to see that fight. Like I said, I don't think it's gonna go past one round. So, like, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about who's going to win this fight. Both fighters are incredible fighters. Both fighters, obviously, again, Rogelio, he has an amazing, record in itself. So, imagine like these guys, have been knocking people out left and right. But definitely one thing Rogelio does have is that, submission, 3 wins by submission. So, I'm definitely still excited to see this fight. But next, starting on the main card now, we got Michael Chiesa versus Kevin Holland, another fan favorite. So obviously, we know Kevin Holland, very well known for his trash talk, things like that, and Michael Chiesa being a veteran in the sport as well. So Michael Chiesa, obviously, if you guys don't know him, he does have a record of 18-6 versus Kevin Holland's record 24-9 and 1 no contest. So Chiesa, man, this fight I'm very excited to definitely see it because like I wonder how it's going to go. Chiesa has 11 wins by submission, which is pretty significant, honestly, in that division. And against going against Kevin Holland, who's very well known for his striking. I wonder, is he going to take it to the ground or stay standing up? Because many people, especially fans, don't see how good Kevin Holland is on the ground. He is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and it's funny because Kevin Holland, many people doubt Kevin Holland's skills, and I like the fact that he really went, you know, he basically went online and everything. He was like, all right, well, whichever fan decides to challenge me, like pull up to the gym and I'll spar with you. And there's videos out on YouTube about it, things like that. But man, Kevin Holland, like you can't deny his skill. Many people have gone up with the challenge, and again, no fan has beat obviously Kevin Holland. So unfortunately, many people also don't realize that in the sport, man, wrestling and jiu-jitsu are just two completely different skills. Not like completely like, oh, there, it still implements the whole ground game, takedowns, control, but still like, going against takedowns, against submissions, like it's very different. Like, I remember sparring with a wrestler one time, and this was actually back in high school though, but literally like, I don't, I'm not really a wrestler or anything like that. I was mainly like, practicing jiu-jitsu, things like that, especially in MMA gyms. Many MMA gyms don't have wrestling, they just have jiu-jitsu, so it's very like, it's kind of like I was wrestling. Well, I wasn't wrestling this guy. I was kind of just going at it, sparring a little bit. Him being a wrestler, me being more on the jiu-jitsu side. Now, I wouldn't consider myself very well in the jiu-jitsu, just or in the MMA, like, skills asset. But anyways, that being said, like, I did like he went for a takedown, I went for a guillotine, and he was like, "What the heck was that?" Like he was so confused, So um, it's definitely, like I said, just two completely different skills in that aspect. But Kevin Holland, not only many people don't know this, but he has 6 wins by submission. Obviously, he's been getting beat by guys that are wrestlers, etc. But he does have 6 wins by submissions, and he has 14 wins by knockout. So, like I said, unfortunately, like Chiesa, I said Chiesa is coming off 2 losses, I believe. But Kevin Holland, obviously, he does have knockout power. He does have that striking ability. He has 11 first round finishes. And like I said, on top of that, he does have 6 finishes by submission. So I'm definitely super excited for this fight. I'm hoping to see what is to come with these fighters. Holland, he's coming off of a win actually, so against Ponzinibbio. Um, I always butcher that name. He's I don't know if you guys know him. He's actually the commentator on the Spanish side. He's Argentinian, but very amazing fighter as well. But Holland won that fight by knockout, and he actually does have losses against Stephen Wonderboy, another great fight and fighter. Stephen Wonderboy, obviously against Kevin Holland. We all saw that fight, like how it played out. They made sure to keep it standing, etc. And Kevin Holland knew, like Stephen Wonderboy as well. Stephen Wonderboy. He's actually on the card, but he's also one of in other fighter that obviously he has that ground game, etc. But to a certain, there are different levels to this game. So both of the guys, they went through to war on the feet, and Stephen Wonderboy won that fight. But man, like, bro, that was an amazing fight. If you guys didn't watch that, I will recommend you guys going back to watch that fight because it was an amazing fight. And obviously, Holland lost to Chimaev pretty quick, and we saw how it plays out with wrestling and jiu-jitsu, things like that. But like I said, man, it was also kind of like a last minute thing. Obviously, we know what happened on that fight card, but which was just chaotic. But it's the fight game, bro. Like you can't not have fight and chaos in the same sentence. It's kind of like, or just in the same category. It's like, bro, like if you're gonna have chaos or something being chaotic, you're gonna be like, oh, there's a lot of fights. Oh, there's a lot of fights. It's chaotic. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that I remember they during that fight card they were asking like Dana White like what happened, things like that. It's like, bro, like these interviewers and reporters and things like that, do they like not understand the fight game that, bro, like these guys are fighters. They're not over here wearing suit and ties and over here like coming into an office job doing customer service. Like they're not nice guys. Like obviously we got the nicest motherfucker in the card, but it's not really like, obviously when you think of a fighter and things like that, they're very humble obviously because they could kick your ass. But nah, like fighters, bro, they fight for a living. A lot of these guys are coming from the streets and things like that, and which is another thing I want to talk about regarding the BMF title. But anyways, we'll get to that part, obviously. But anyways, this is a fight I'm definitely excited for. Kevin Holland versus Michael Chiesa. Honestly, I think it's going to be a banger. Not only, I don't think, like I said, I don't think it will go to the ground. I think it will stay standing up, but who knows? Obviously, Michael Chiesa obviously knows the threat that Kevin Holland puts on his feet. But also, Kevin Holland has to look out for Michael Chiesa, who has, a very well known record or just fighters on his record, fighting them. So, like I said, Michael Chiesa has been in the sport for quite a while. And then next we got Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green. Obviously, everybody loves Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson has a record of 26-8. And we got Bobby Green with a record of 29-14-1. Man, Bobby Green is an extremely exciting fighter. Also, he's just a stand-up guy. Like imagine like he took that imagine like he took the fight against Islam Makhachev on, oh, I think it was, it a week notice, 2 week notice, or a month notice. I just know it was a very short time for Bobby Green not to even have a full fight camp, right? So the fact that Bobby Green is back in the sport, obviously, not back in the sport. He's been in the sport for a long time, but as in like back in, on the card, fighting another veteran, Tony Ferguson, is going to be great, man. I definitely, I'm a fan of both of these fighters because they're amazing strikers, fighters, etc., things like that. And obviously, Tony Ferguson, he's just a fan favorite. Obviously, he's El Cucuy, bro. He's the boogeyman. So I'm definitely just I'm very excited to see how this fight plays out though, because here's the thing. Ferguson, right? Fan favorite. I get it. I am a huge fan of him. I understand. Ferguson has 13 wins by knockout, right? 8 by submission and 9 first round finishes. He there's no doubt he's an amazing fighter, but unfortunately, he has lost his past 5 fights. His last win I think was in 2019 with Donald Cerrone. So that is he hasn't won in a while, and just the way also he's been getting beat. Obviously, the fight against Justin Gaethje, that was a brutal fight, man. Like the Gaethje definitely, man, like Tony Ferguson clipped him in one of the rounds. I think it was the fourth round, with an uppercut at the end of the round. But bro, like just the fact that Tony Ferguson, typically the UFC after a 3 fight loss streak, I think is when they cut you. But like I said, Tony Ferguson is just a fan favorite where it's like everybody is, no matter what, always excited to see him. Tony Ferguson looked great against Michael Chandler, and unfortunately against Michael Chandler, he got caught with an amazing kick, right? But like I said, it is unfortunate. It is the fight game, and everything it is unexpected, man. So these fighters come in with everything, are looking for that knockout, are looking for the win, and well, like I said, I definitely want to see. I don't want to see Ferguson out the game, but at the same time, is it time for him to retire? What do you guys think? Should he have retired a while ago? And he Tony Ferguson. Keep in mind, he was on 12 fight win streak, right? Until he lost, and now he's on a 5 fight loss streak. But again, 12 fight win streak, and then he loses it to Justin Gaethje, which Tony Ferguson never got that fight against Habib. But again, now seeing kind of like, especially against Charles Oliveira when he fought Charles Oliveira, like how would have that fight gone, right? So, Ferguson, I don't think obviously he's in his prime anymore. I think he left his prime. But like I said, that is my personal opinion. If I get bashed for my opinions, that's fine. Like I said, I'm just a fan of the sport. But like I said, let me know what you guys think. Bobby Green, amazing fighter as well. He has 10 wins by knockout, 8 wins by submission, and 10 first round finishes, one more than Tony Ferguson. But man, like he definitely like is a great fighter. Obviously, unfortunately, his last fight was a no contest against Jared Gordon. But man, like he's definitely also been in the sport for a while. He is coming off before his no contest a couple of losses, but honestly, when I saw the fight Bobby Green versus Drew Dober, uh, Bobby Green, he put on a very good fight. There was a point where I was like, man, like Bobby Green might win this fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, Drew Dober is obviously an up and comer, etc., things like that. And it was Drew Dober's toughest fight for sure. But definitely, like Bobby Green, like it was it was an amazing performance by Bobby Green, and unfortunately, he got tagged. Drew Dober won, but yeah, like and then before that, he lost to Islam, which again, it was uh, Bobby Green couldn't get a full fight count. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, that this is another fight where I'm definitely excited for both fighters, and it's kind of one of those where it's like, man, like with both of these fighters, I feel like Bobby Green, win or lose, he'll stay in the sport for longer. But when it comes to Tony Ferguson, I'm not sure. Even if he does lose this fight, I do think he'll be, if he isn't cut, just retire. I think it should be a retirement fight. So it hasn't really he hasn't came out with any specifics. Just the way other fighters do it, like, hey, this is my last fight, etc. But who knows? Maybe he'll surprise us. Maybe he'll win and want to stay. Maybe he'll win and want to go out on a good note, just like Robbie Lawler did. So I'm definitely excited for this fight. You know what I'm saying? So next we got the nicest motherfucker. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is fighting, obviously, and he is. This is actually a very interesting fight against Michelle Pereira, because both of them are very slick in their techniques, obviously. So I think Pereira, he's very crazy in the fight. He be doing backflips, running around the walls, be doing all these sorts of flips and kicks and everything like that. And it's just, even like imagine like Michelle he's been doing all this craziness, and he's both of these guys are coming off a win, by the way. So Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, his record is 17-6-1, and Michelle Pereira is 28-11. So both of these guys have definitely been in the sport for quite a while. Both fighters are coming off a win. So Wonder Boy has 8 wins by knockout, 1 by submission, which is very interesting, actually. If you know Stephen Wonder Boy, obviously, and he has 4 first-round finishes. So obviously, we Stephen Wonder Boy, he's a kickboxer, and he was very good in kickboxing. I think he was undefeated, if I'm not wrong. He was like 55-0, if I'm not wrong, or 52-0. So, then he transitioned to MMA and was doing very good. He's also another fan favorite. He's one of those fighters that when they're on the card, you're very excited to see him. I don't. I think in the first episode I was talking to Sebastian, and we were talking about Stephen Wonderboy because he's one of those fighters that I don't see him, going up for the belt, but he's one of those fighters that you just can't get enough of. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, even Michelle Pereira, Pereira is on a 5-fight win streak, right? So he has 10 wins by knockout, 7 by submission, but he also hasn't fought since May 21st of 2022, and he also has a win against Punzin Bio. I'm definitely interested to see that fight, obviously, to see what both these fighters bring. Wonder Boy, I'm excited to see him. I'm always excited to see him fight. Also, like the press conference, I don't think there's going to be any trash talk from Wonder Boy. So the fact that we got the BMF and the nicest, I guess you could call it NMF. But anyways, so I'm definitely excited for these fights. Let me know what you guys think about this fight as well. So obviously we got Pereira. He does have wins against like Nico Price and Diego Sanchez. But like I said, he hasn't fought in a while. He's not a very active fighter. Just like definitely when he does fight, he always brings his A game. He's very technical, even though he's all doing these crazy techniques. He still is very careful in how he does it. Make sure he's like, okay, let me not do this craziness where it's like I could get caught here. It's kind of like, for example, the backflip he did, it was when the fighter was on the ground. So, he's very still smart in his craziness, I guess you could say. So, I'm definitely, like I said, super excited for this fight. The whole card is going to be amazing. I feel like, honestly, based off, just these fights right now, Stephen Wonderboy versus Michelle Pereira, I feel like it will end. I don't think a knockout. I think a technical knockout. So I feel like it's going to be so brutal that one of them is going to can't continue because of maybe a cut or even a broken leg or something. I think it's going to be a technical knockout and not a knockout. So it's a weird prediction, but again, I do think that. And then Bobby Green versus Tony Ferguson, I do think that ends in a finish as well. Um, I feel like both of these fighters have something to prove. I think if they want to stay in the sport, they got to be more hungry than ever. You know what I'm saying? So Tony Ferguson, I'm not going to lie, he's been looking very very good in his last fights, but also you know he's versing guys that are obviously in the top now, right? So, I'm definitely excited for both these fighters. I know they're both going to bring their A game, and obviously Kevin Holland versus Michael Chiesa. That's also another fight where it's like I think that also ends in a finish with both their records being a lot of finishes, not only by submission but knockout as well. you know, I definitely feel like it could end in a knockout or a submission. So I feel like that fight would end in a submission, honestly. For some reason, I feel like it's going to end in a submission. Obviously, you got somebody who's had 11 submissions compared to somebody who has had 6 submissions. So I'm definitely excited to see these fights. But anyways, let's go to co-main and main event of the evening. All right, so these two I'm actually very excited to talk about. It's obviously we got Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira, and this is the light heavyweight division, right? So we know Alex Pereira is moving up, and this is Jan Blachowicz division. So both fighters, amazing fighters, super exciting to watch. We got the Polish power against Alex Buatan Pereira, right? So, bro, both of these guys are scary guys, right? Obviously, Blachowicz is more that nice guy, very humble guy, but bro, like Alex Pereira, like tell that guy to smile, bro. Like, God, like that man really just be serious all the time. So, anyways, we definitely got these two fighters for the co-main event. Like I said, Dana White came out saying that whoever wins this fight will definitely be fighting for the title. Obviously, man, the light heavyweight division ever since John Jones has left has just been cursed, man. Like, we got a Yuri, he got injured, so then we had a vacant title. And then now we got Jamal Hill, who also got injured, and now another vacant title. Although I do have respect for both of these fighters because not only did Yuri he was like, hey, like, I'm not going to be able to defend my belt. Let somebody have it and I'll make sure to come back and take it back. Um, Compared to like just holding on to the belt and not letting any other fighter, fight for the belt in the meanwhile. So, especially then Jamal Hill did the same thing. So I got much respect for these guys, man. Like the fact that they did it that way, like, hey, I'm not going to keep anybody else away from their dreams just because I'm injured and can't fight. Like, just as a champ, definitely that's definitely a lot of respect to these champs. So, um, I'm definitely excited for this fight, especially, John Blachowicz and Alex Pereira. John Blachowicz, he has a record of 29-9-1 versus Alex Pereira, who is very new to the MMA game. He has a record of 7-2. So both of these fighters have wins against over Israel Adesanya. Obviously, this was Jan Blachowicz fought Izzy in the light heavyweight, but Israel also was weighing, I think, 193. While Jan obviously, well, he weighed in at 205, but keep in mind he comes in heavier. But yeah, so obviously, there's definitely, with that significant weight difference. But either way, the way that Jan beat Israel Adesanya, he outstruck him, which is his own game, and then obviously, he out wrestled him and showed that, it showed Israel Adesanya that there's weight classes for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And luckily, like Alex Pereira, I don't think he's going to be weighing in at 193 or anything like that. So, he walks around like at 215, 220. I mean, he's a huge guy. So, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, like I said, Jan has 9 wins by knockout, 9 by submission, and 7 first round finishes. So, obviously his last fight was against Ankalev. Unfortunately, that was a draw. But even Dana White, he was pretty upset about that. Many people obviously who watched that fight. Jan Blachowicz said it. He was like, just give Anklov, the belt. He deserves it. He won it. But unfortunately, that's not how the game works. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I'm definitely just you know excited for the fight, obviously, to see how it plays out. I'm very excited to see how much also these fighters weigh in at. But like I said, Jan, he obviously has that Polish power behind him. And the fact that I'm obviously going to get to Alex Pereira here in a bit because he's new to the sport, but it's kind of like Jan. He's beat Rakic, I believe is how you say it. He's beat Israel Adesanya. He's beat Dominic Reyes. Unfortunately, he lost the belt to Glover Teixeira. which Glover Teixeira is now the coach of Alex Pereira in MMA, which is very interesting, obviously, because Alex Pereira now has kind of that insight of how to beat Jan Blachowicz, from a guy firsthand who legit beat him for the title. So definitely, I'm excited for that. But I'm also, I was thinking about this, and the fact that Jan Blachowicz, he beat Israel Adesanya, but he didn't knock him out. Compared to Alex Pereira, he literally knocked out Izzy, not only in kickboxing but also in MMA. And the fact, I know, if you guys have been watching the show, UFC Countdown, Embedded One, Two, things like that, like I definitely you could see that like Jan Blachowicz definitely respects Alex Pereira's just power in itself, especially the fact that Alex Pereira, he said he was like talking about how now since he's moving up in weight, he has to focus more on power, and it's kind of like, bro, like we all know you already have power. Like, how much more power can you get? You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you got 185 to 205, which is a 20-pound difference, it's a significant amount of power difference as well. So we see it. Obviously, um, again, we saw it firsthand when it came to Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz. Because Izzy, like I said, he was very confident in his abilities to win, but he weighed in at 193, and Jan literally not only he outstruck him, which obviously has somewhat to do with weight, kind of because as the lighter you are, the faster you should be. So the fact that Jan not only outstruck Izzy but also took him to the ground, that says something huge about Jan Blachowicz of how good he is. But Jan Blachowicz obviously took down Izzy, and typically we see Izzy get up pretty quick, but not in this case. We saw Jan Blachowicz control Izzy on the ground, and again, I do believe that it was because of that weight difference. So, like I said, now we got Alex Pereira. He has 6 wins by knockout, 3 first round finishes. Obviously, he is coming off a loss against Izzy due to knockout, but he has beat Izzy by knockout 3 times, 2 times by knockout, once by decision. He obviously beat him twice in kickboxing, once in MMA. But and also, he's very new to the MMA sport. So the fact that he came back and won against the champ, it says a lot. Obviously, their rivalry. I mean, they've had a rivalry for so long, but just apart from their rivalry, you got to understand like Izzy is really like the champ of the middleweight division. Alex Pereira, he was new to the sport, so the fact that he came in MMA and again he's beat guys like Sean Strickland, obviously Israel Adesanya and Silva, and you know Alex, keep in mind he went to distance with Silva, so we know that he could also go to distance in the fight, but most of his fights don't go to distance, as we see. They're typically knockouts. So I'm definitely excited for this fight. Obviously, the fact that I think Jan Blachowicz, his strategy or his game plan is mainly going to be wrestling, because you got to understand like Jan Blachowicz, he has 9 wins by submission, right? So, we already know that he has the ground game, he has grappling, he has submissions to his name. And unfortunately, Alex Pereira, being new to MMA, he doesn't have uh, that experience with ground game. You know what I'm saying? So, it's kind of like I know Alex Pereira, he's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And I'll be honest, this is my personal opinion. Now we haven't seen much from, Alex Pereira, obviously, but it's kind of like the way when I saw the video of him getting his brown belt. Now, obviously, his coach was saying like, you know, this isn't the game isn't about winning. If not, it's about survival. Now, I remember obviously, even some coaches that have coached me, they tell me the same thing. When you get white belt, blue belt, etc., things like that. It's all about survival. It's all about defending, etc. Just trying to survive in there. But once you get to, obviously your black belt and things like that, then it's all about offense, actually finishing and working and more, you're on the offensive side. So, but up to a certain point, it's all about defense. It's all about surviving. But like I said, I definitely want to see if Alex Pereira could back the skills up, uh, to show that he's actually a brown belt. So again, that's my personal opinion. Obviously, Alex Pereira is new to MMA, but he has been training in MMA, right? Apart from even the UFC, he does have MMA fights prior to the UFC, obviously. So, like I said, I'm definitely excited to see um, Alex Pereira and Jan Blachowicz. Like I said, this Dana White obviously, said it that whoever is going to fight, whoever wins fights for the title. So I also am wondering who gets the title fight. Because, like I said, literally, like ever since John Jones left, the light heavyweight division has been cursed. So it's kind of like, bro, like, you know, it, we got Yuri got injured, Jamal Hill got injured, then we got a draw, now what? Like, what's going to happen with this fight? Which this fight is going to tell who fights for the title next. So, like I said, I'm just excited. I'm excited to see what's to come for the light heavyweight division. Alex Pereira, obviously, he's 7-2, but he is training with the guy that beat the guy that beat Jan Blachowicz for the title. So obviously, Teixeira lost the title to Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill now has a vacant, gave the title out for being injured. But like I said, there's so much going on in light heavyweight division that, like I said, I'm just definitely excited to see. Obviously, Alex Pereira, his kickboxing record has 33 wins, 7 losses, 21 wins by knockout. He's a two-time glory kickboxing champ. So obviously, Jan, he understands that, Alex Pereira does have his striking abilities, to beat him. But like I said, I think Jan's game plan is going to be kind of similar to Izzy's, other than he's going to do more wrestling because I feel like Jan, uh, he did win in in the stand up against Izzy, but again, Izzy did weigh less. Pereira is now weighing more. He weighs in at I think Pereira, imagine he's at 215, 8% body fat. Like I said, even bodybuilders, they can't sustain a single digit body fat um, and maintain that year round. Like it's so hard to do that because it drains you. It decreases like your metabolism. Not only that, but like just so much stuff. Lack of sleep, things like that. Like it really drains your body being in the single digit body fats. So like I said, only a few could do it, and he definitely Pereira has the body type to do that. Obviously, so it's kind of one of those body types that they tell you about how it's kind of like it was meant for fighting. So both of these guys, like I said, are scary guys. I definitely don't want to mess with them. Alex Pereira being just a killer. So I'm definitely excited to see how this fight plays out. I don't think it's going to go the distance. I think it ends by knockout. So even one thing I don't know if I mentioned this, but that had surprised me was that imagine Jan, he couldn't knock out Izzy, yet Pereira did knock him out. I think I did mention that, but if I didn't, I'm saying it again. So it's just super like interesting the fact that the power difference, I guess you could say. So last but not least, the moment you guys have all been waiting for, the fight of the evening. Obviously, we got the BMF title on the line. We actually got the BMF title champion right there with two other BMFers, obviously Nick and Nate Diaz, if you guys can't tell. But anyways, we got the BMF title champ right there. He's going to be strapping the belt against the winner in this title fight. And like I said, I'm definitely excited for these fighters because both these fighters have fought for the belt twice already. Unfortunately, they came up short against Charles Oliveira and Habib. But like I said, they're both still great fighters. They're brawlers. They bring in, the definitely their A game, obviously, and they bring in a show for the fans as well. And I feel like that's why Dana White chose these fighters for the BMF title, because literally they're just two fighters that come in and brawl, bro. Like they literally just show up, fight. They're always in wars. They have so many knockouts under their belt. I mean, Dustin Poirier, his record is 29-7 with one known contest, and we got Justin Gaethje with 25 wins and 4 losses. So, like I said, man, like up until like a little while ago, obviously Justin Gaethje had 100% finish rate. So, it's definitely still amazing, bro. Like, this guy, like, obviously, both of these guys have a lot of finishes under their belt. Dustin Poirier, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Justin Gaethje, he's a wrestler, been wrestling since 4 years old. So they also got ground game. I don't think it's going to go to the ground, but just in case anything happens, they both have ground game as well. So obviously, Dustin Poirier, he's coming off a win against Michael Chandler via submission on the third round. But like I said, I do want to. I do want to give my personal opinion though. See if you guys agree. If you don't, if you don't agree, well, you can bash me, whatnot. But my personal opinion with the BMF title, I just don't agree. Not with the title itself, if not with the fighters that are fighting for it. And this is why. My big thing is mainly as a fan, the backstory, right? So, for example, obviously the BMF title came to show when it was Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal. You got to understand that Nate Diaz, he's from the West Coast, and Jorge Masvidal, he was talking about East Coast, and these guys are from the streets of Nate Diaz being Cali, Jorge Masvidal being Miami, and these guys are very well known growing up, street fighting, things like that. Obviously, Jorge Masvidal fighting alongside Kimbo Slice, another very well known fighter, unfortunately passed away, RIP. But like I said, it's like the backstory of the BMF title. It's kind of like, to me as a fan, what it means to me personally. Like I said, this is my opinion. It's kind of just like somebody who kind of like grew up from nothing, and like is from the streets. Kind of like not saying like these guys don't got like education behind them, but they weren't like going to like fancy schools and or anything like that, or just even school in general, bro. Like they're just straight up like from the hood and things like that. I feel like that's the backstory for the BMF title as a fan. So the fact that now we're getting Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. I'm not saying they didn't grow up from nothing. I'm not saying they didn't grow up like in the streets or anything like that. Nothing like that. But also their backstory isn't as um streetwise compared to Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal as it was set out to be, in my personal opinion. So, like I said, that's kind of like the vibe I get from the BMF title, the backstory. But like I said, Dana White, he has a different opinion. A lot of other fans have different opinions. I'm just giving my personal opinion, and I want to go know your opinion. Your like, what do you guys think? Or what opinion do you have behind the BMF title? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with this fight? Do you agree with it leaving the weight class division? How should it be worked out? Because the BMF title, Dana White even said it was kind of once in a lifetime thing. And again, for these guys, oh, like even like the whole build up, it was like, oh, West Coast gangster, and then Jorge Masvidal, he's like East Coast gangster, kind of like the gangster vibes, I get from the BMF title. And bro, I mean, if you know Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje, like Dustin Poirier, obviously, he's a very nice, humble guy, things like that. I'm not saying like you can't be a gangster and nice or humble or anything like that. I'm not saying that. It's just kind of like just the vibe, different personality, also traits and things like that that these two fighters fighting this weekend give aren't the same as the other fighters, Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz. But like I said, I'm still excited for this fight. Don't get me wrong. I know it's going to be a brawl. I know they're two badass motherfuckers. I think all fighters are badass motherfuckers, other than we got the nicest motherfucker, obviously, fighting on the card, Stephen Wonderboy. Still a badass motherfucker, but he's a nice one too. But anyways, like I said, I'm definitely excited for this fight. I don't think it's going to go uh, distance for sure. I think it obviously is going to go by knockout or possibly submission, possibly. But like I said, I feel like these two guys stand and bang. So, I'm definitely just excited for these fights. Obviously, um, Dustin, like I said, both of these fighters they lost to Charles Oliveira and Habib for the title fight. So the fact that they have a title, to them now, it's definitely also amazing. You know what I'm saying? So not only that, like Dustin obviously is coming off a win against Chandler. He's beat McGregor twice. Keep in mind, so his striking, his power is all like there. Like the fact that he knocked McGregor out in their second bout and then in the third bout, obviously McGregor broke his leg, but still, like it was still a beautiful, beautiful performance from Dustin Poirier. And then obviously we got Justin Gaethje. He has 19 wins by knockout, 9 first round finishes. So, like I said, like you know, their power is obviously undeniable. Not only that, not like I said, not so long ago, Justin Gaethje had 100% finish rate. I think when he had 17 wins, it was. Now he has obviously more, but it was 100% finish rate. Now, obviously, against other fighters, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier, like these guys are obviously two also like powerful guys. I mean, they keep in mind these guys dropped Charles Oliveira. You know what I'm saying? And Charles Oliveira, obviously, he's been fighting a lot of these guys that have so much power to them. Obviously, Charles Oliveira was the champ, lost it to Islam. But I mean, bro, like just like the caliber of fighter that Oliveira is, so also Islam, like I mean, it's undeniable as well. So, like I said, I mean, Justin obviously is coming off a win from Fazeev, and that actually win was also by decision. So unfortunately, it wasn't by knockout. But like I said, there was in that fight there was no denying his power or anything like that as well. So like I said, man, I'm definitely Justin has also beat Chandler. They Dustin and Justin that rhymes, bro. That rhymes. Justin, Dustin. They have like similar records. They have similar like losses and finishes, and that's crazy, bro. They're super similar, and actually, bro, like this is a crazy fight. They're so similar. What the heck? So which I already knew that is a crazy fight, but it's just I don't know. I guess the Justin Dustin putting it together kind of threw me off right now that I said it together. Bro, I am rhyming. What the heck, dog? Call me Dr. Seuss, G. But anyways, not for real. Like these guys are obviously brawlers. They're amazing fighters, and I just can't wait for this weekend. Obviously, I'm gonna make another podcast after this for the whole post fight sort of deal. But like I said, man, thank you guys for tuning in. This is CagedIn MMA. This is episode 4. It's your host, Ebit Sochiwa. If you guys haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to join Fantasy MMA Picks. Obviously, I've seen not so many people have joined. So, like I said, every month I want to just give away something to the winner who has the most fights chosen right or most points, really, because it works differently. You choose submissions if it's going to be submission, knockout round, all that stuff. There's so many ways to earn points. So if you guys haven't already, go ahead, tune in for the fight, tune in for Fantasy MMA, like, share, subscribe, follow me on Instagram for news, right? Follow the podcast on Spotify and YouTube. There's also different videos I'm gonna be posting on YouTube, following up, trying to talk to fans and things like that. Unfortunately, some fans don't know much about the sport. They follow the trend, but I'm trying to find, those fans that do know to give you guys better quality, content and things like that. So, like I said, I'm definitely super excited for the fight. If you guys haven't already, like I said, like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is CagedIn MMA, episode 4. It's your host, Ebit Chiwa, and we out, baby. See you guys on the next.